Okay, so you want to get a better grasp on innovation, especially in business. Well, we got this podcast episode, Navigating the Roller Coaster of Entrepreneurship, and it's jam-packed with insights. So let's jump in, shall we? See what we can dig up that'll actually be useful.
You know, what struck me is how they hammer home that innovation isn't just like a trendy word. It's really the lifeline for any business that wants to survive, right?
Yeah.
Especially in a market that's constantly shifting.
It's like adapt or become obsolete.
Yeah.
But they also make this point that it doesn't have to be some huge revolutionary change. They have this anecdote, right, about a coffee shop owner doing okay, but things were kind of going stale.
Yeah.
So they do. Started offering these cool coffee brewing classes, partnered with local artists, to display their stuff, even started hosting poetry slams.
It's the perfect example of how even small tweaks, creative ones, can have a huge ripple effect. That coffee shop became a real community hub, and their business, it just took off.
Love that. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that innovation has to be some big, splashy thing. But sometimes it's those subtle shifts in how we approach things. Thinking about your own situation, is there anything you could tweak? Even just a little. Maybe it'll snowball into something bigger down the line, something to think about.
Totally. And on that note, the source really digs into building a culture of innovation within a company.
Let's unpack that. They were really adamant about fostering an environment where employees feel like they can experiment, throw ideas around. I love that example they gave.
Right.
This tech company, right?
Yeah.
They had these brainstorming sessions where everyone was invited, from the CEO to the janitor.
That is so powerful. Really shows how valuable it is to get different perspectives. Reinforces this idea that innovation can come from anywhere, not just the top dogs.
Right. Give everyone a voice no matter their title. It's like no bad ideas, at least at the brainstorming stage. And that leads right into the next big thing they talked about. Diversity as a driver for innovation.
They actually cited research showing that companies with more diverse teams, they tend to come up with more unique ideas. In one study, businesses with above-average diversity scores, their innovation revenue was a whole 19 percentage points higher.
Wow, 19%. But it's not just about hiring people from different backgrounds, right? It's about valuing those different viewpoints, creating a space where everyone feels safe to speak their mind.
Exactly. Different life experiences, right? They lead to different approaches to problems, to thinking. Bring those together and you get a much richer picture. And that leads to more creative solutions.
More heads are better than one, but on a much bigger scale. Think about your own situation, even if you're not running a whole company. How can you encourage that variety of thought? Maybe actively seek out different opinions. Or make it clear that it's okay to share ideas, even if they seem kind of out there at first.
That's such a good point. Often the most groundbreaking innovations, they come from those who are willing to think outside the box. But like you said, it's up to all of us to create spaces where those voices can be heard.
Now, they profiled some companies that are just killing it in the innovation game. I thought their stories were super inspiring.
For sure. Netflix, Tesla, and Airbnb. Each one a prime example of a company that didn't just adapt to change, but they actually drove it.
Netflix. I mean, think back to when they were just mailing DVDs. Now, they've completely reshaped how we watch stuff. Went all in on streaming, started making their own shows, and boom, changed the game.
And the key. Their willingness to completely shift their business model. They saw how things were evolving and they adapted, didn't cling to the old ways. That's how they became the entertainment powerhouse they are today.
It's a good reminder that sometimes you got to let go of what feels safe and jump into the unknown.
Exactly. Now, Tesla, when they first appeared, electric cars, they were seen as kind of a novelty. But Tesla, they had this bigger vision.
They weren't just making cars. They wanted to disrupt the whole industry.
Yeah.
Their focus on things like battery tech, sustainability, design, it all came together to create this brand that just screams innovation.
And their impact goes beyond cars. Think about the renewable energy sector with their solar panels and battery storage. A textbook example of a company that not only adapted but actually steered the direction of change, shaping the future of multiple industries.
Pretty amazing. And then there's Airbnb. They completely revolutionized how people travel and experience new places.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought renting out a spare room could become such a global phenomenon?
They saw an unmet need. And they built this platform that connects people in a way that just hadn't been done before. Tapped into the whole sharing economy thing and empowered people to become like micro entrepreneurs in hospitality.
And they didn't stop there. They kept innovating, adding experiences, all these features that make traveling better. A great example of thinking outside the box and creating something truly unique. But one thing that ties all these companies together, even though they're so different, is their embrace of technology to fuel their innovation.
Absolutely. The episode talks about how tech, especially AI and machine learning, is letting companies do things that seemed impossible just a few years ago. Amazon, for example. They've been using AI in some pretty incredible ways.
Yeah, like how they use it to predict what products will be in high demand so they can stock their warehouses accordingly, like having a crystal ball. Right.
It's wild. And it's not just inventory. They use AI to personalize those recommendations you see. The algorithm analyzes your past purchases, your browsing, and suggests things you might like, things you might not even have known existed.
It's amazing how technology can supercharge innovation. But they also made a point of saying, don't let tech overshadow the human side of things.
Right, right. While tech can be a powerful tool, it can't replace human creativity, intuition, and emotional intelligence. Got to find that balance.
So it's like tech can give us the tools and the data, but we still need that human spark to turn it into something truly meaningful and innovative.
Great analogy.
Mhm.
Technology can streamline things, but it's still human ingenuity that drives true innovation.
Well said. But let's get practical. The podcast episode also laid out some steps for creating an innovation roadmap. I think this is super valuable, whether you're leading a team or just working on a personal project.
Yeah, they had a really clear framework that could apply to a lot of situations. The first step, define your vision for innovation. What are you trying to achieve? What problems are you trying to solve?
That clear vision is key, like setting your destination in a GPS before you start driving. Gives you a sense of direction, helps you stay focused.
Makes sense. And once you have that vision, then you set measurable goals.
This is where you make sure you're making progress, on track with your vision, breaking down your big goals into smaller, manageable steps.
Like milestones on your innovation journey. Every one you reach, it's a little victory. Keeps you moving forward.
Love that. And as you work toward those goals, they emphasize fostering open communication. Create a culture where people feel good sharing their ideas.
Which brings us back to diversity, right? The power of different perspectives. It's all about creating a space where people can brainstorm freely, experiment without worrying about messing up, and challenge the usual way of thinking.
Yeah, create a space where ideas can spark something new. They also talked about the importance of always learning. Whether it's workshops, reading, or just taking some time to reflect, it's about keeping your creative energy flowing.
Learning never stops, especially if you want to think innovatively. It's about feeding your curiosity, expanding your knowledge, and stretching your mind to think in new ways. They also brought up feedback loops.
Right. Being open to feedback from your team, customers, even people who disagree with you. Take that feedback, good or bad, and use it to make your ideas even better.
Feedback is gold, especially when it comes from lots of different sources. It helps you see blind spots, challenges what you thought you knew, and helps you come up with better solutions.
And they made a great point about celebrating both wins and losses. It's so easy to get caught up in the need to succeed that we forget setbacks and failures are part of the process.
It's vital to build a culture where people aren't afraid to take risks. Even if they don't always work out, their effort is appreciated and everyone learns from it. That's how you foster innovation.
You got it. It's about seeing failures as stepping stones.
Well put. Now, the podcast also dived into some trends that are shaping the future of innovation, and I think this is super relevant for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, me too. Love thinking about what's coming next. They highlighted two major trends that are likely to have a big impact in the next few years: sustainability and the rise of the digital economy.
Let's talk about sustainability first. Consumers are becoming way more aware of how their choices impact the environment and society, and they're looking for businesses that reflect those values.
It's not just a buzzword anymore. It's a core value that people want to see in the companies they support. Companies that are eco-friendly, source their materials ethically, and prioritize social responsibility. They're not just doing the right thing, they're attracting customers who believe in the same things.
It's a win-win for sure. And it's not about slapping a green label on things. It's about genuinely reducing your impact on the environment, creating sustainable products and services, and making the world a more equitable place.
Exactly. And the other trend, the rise of the digital economy, has been supercharged by the pandemic and the whole shift toward remote work.
Yep, things are changing quickly. The companies that figure out how to adapt to this new way of working and find creative solutions for online collaboration, communication, and engagement, those are the companies that will thrive.
It's about figuring out how to connect with customers and colleagues in meaningful ways, even when we're not in the same physical space. It's about building a more flexible and inclusive work environment. But we also have to be aware of the potential downsides. The digital divide, information overload, privacy concerns, those are all things that need to be addressed.
You're right, there are definitely challenges, but overall, I think the potential benefits are huge, especially in terms of accessibility, flexibility, and global reach.
Feels like we're on the edge of something brand new. And what I love is that innovation isn't just for big tech companies. It's for everyone. Small business owners, artists, students, anyone who's willing to ask what if, and then go for it.
So true. It's a mindset, a way of approaching challenges and opportunities with curiosity, creativity, and a willingness to just try things out. It's about embracing change, questioning assumptions, and always looking for ways to improve, to grow, and to make a positive impact.
Beautifully put. And as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into innovation, I want to leave you with something to think about. What's one small step you can take this week to be more innovative in your own work or life? Could be anything. Trying a new approach to a familiar task, brainstorming solutions to a problem that's been bugging you, just being more open to new ideas.
Remember, innovation is a journey, not a destination. And every journey starts with a single step. What will yours be?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is amazing to see how these small changes even can totally reshape a business when they're done right. It just goes to show that innovation doesn't always have to be this big, huge thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
It can start with just shifting your perspective a little, being willing to experiment and always looking for ways to improve.
I love that. It's so encouraging because it means that anyone can be an innovator.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be some tech genius or have tons of money to make a difference.
Yeah.
But speaking of tech, the podcast episode also spent some time talking about how technology is driving innovation, especially things like AI and machine learning. What do you think about that part?
Well, they really emphasized how these technologies are changing how companies do business, letting them do things that just weren't possible before. Like they talked about how Amazon uses AI to figure out customer behavior and make their logistics super efficient.
Oh, yeah, I was reading about that too, like how Amazon uses all these algorithms, right, to look at huge amounts of data from customers' purchases and what they're looking at online. And they use that to predict what products people are going to want so they can stock their warehouses accordingly. It's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. It's like they have a crystal ball, And that's just one way Amazon's using AI to streamline things and make the customer experience better.
Didn't they talk about how AI powers their recommendation engine too? Like when you're on their site and it suggests stuff you might like based on what you've bought before or what other people with similar interests have bought?
Yeah, exactly. That recommendation engine is seriously sophisticated, and it's all driven by AI. It's a perfect example of how AI can make things more personalized and engaging for the customer.
I'm always a little creeped out when I see a product. I was just thinking about pop-up as a suggestion, though, not gonna lie.
Uh-huh, right. It can feel a little Big Brother-ish sometimes.
But what I find most impressive is how Amazon has integrated AI into so many different parts of their business, from managing warehouses and inventory to customer service and even developing new products. It's not just a one-off thing. It's woven into everything they do.
It really is. They've clearly made a commitment to innovation and are embracing all these new technologies to stay ahead of the game. But I also appreciated that the podcast episode warned against relying too much on tech and forgetting about the human side of things. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was a really important point. Like, technology can be an amazing tool for innovation, but it can never replace human creativity, intuition, and our ability to connect with each other.
For sure.
It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
Using tech to help us, but not letting it take over.
I think of it like this. Technology can give us the building blocks, but we're the ones who have to put them together and make something truly innovative and meaningful. We can't let tech become a crutch that stifles our creativity and our ability to connect with each other on a human level.
Totally. It's up to us to make sure we're using tech, not the other way around. So as you think about your own work and life, what are some ways you can use tech to help you be more innovative? Are there tools or platforms that could make you more efficient, creative, or connected? But more importantly, how can you make sure tech is amplifying your own skills and insights, not replacing them?
Those are great questions to think about. It's a good reminder that we have a choice in how we use technology. We have to be intentional about making sure it serves us.
Absolutely. Now, I thought it was really cool how the podcast episode also talked about some of the trends shaping the future of innovation, What stood out to you?
They highlighted two big trends that are likely to have a huge impact on how businesses operate in the coming years: sustainability and the rise of the digital economy. What did you think about that?
Yeah, let's dive into those. Sustainability first. It seems like everyone's talking about being eco-friendly and socially responsible these days. And it's not just lip service. Customers are really paying attention to a company's values, and they want to support businesses that align with their own ethics and commitment to the environment.
For sure. It's not just a niche concern anymore. It's becoming the expectation. Companies that are making sustainability a priority, they're not only doing the right thing for the planet and society, but they're also appealing to a whole new group of customers who are willing to pay more for products and services that reflect those values.
It's a win-win all around. But it's not just about slapping a green label on things and calling it a day. It's about finding truly innovative ways to reduce your impact, create more sustainable products and services, and contribute to making the world a more just and equitable place.
You got it. It's about making sustainability a core part of your business and using innovation to drive positive change.
Love that. Now, what about that other trend they mentioned, the rise of the digital economy? The pandemic really accelerated the shift to remote work and online everything, and it doesn't seem like that's going away anytime soon.
Nope, it definitely looks like this is the new normal. Companies that can adapt to this new reality and use technology to collaborate remotely, communicate effectively online, and engage with customers digitally are the ones that are going to thrive.
It's about finding new ways to connect and build relationships, even when we're not physically in the same space, and about creating a more flexible and inclusive work environment that embraces the possibilities of the digital world. But as we've talked about, we also have to be aware of the potential downsides. The digital divide, information overload, privacy concerns, those are all issues that need to be addressed.
You're right, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are definitely challenges that come with this transition to a more digital world. But overall, I think the potential benefits are huge, especially when it comes to making things more accessible, flexible, and globally connected. It feels like we're standing on the edge of something brand new and exciting.
I agree. But one of the things that really struck me from the podcast episode was this idea that innovation isn't just for big tech companies or corporations. It's for everyone. It's for the small business owner trying to find new ways to reach their customers, the artist experimenting with new mediums, the student challenging conventional thinking in their research. It's for anyone who's willing to ask, what if, and then go for it.
It's so true. Innovation really is a mindset. It's approaching problems and opportunities with curiosity and a willingness to experiment and try new things. It's embracing change and always looking for ways to improve, grow, and have a positive impact on the world.
I love that. So as we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I want you to think about that coffee shop owner we discussed earlier, the one who made those small changes that had such a big impact. Sometimes the most impactful innovations are those small, incremental changes that build up over time. What do you think?
Absolutely. Just asking simple questions like, what can I do differently? What can I make better? Can lead to really powerful shifts.
Exactly. And then it's about having the courage to experiment, to try new things and see what happens. Even small changes, done consistently, can create a ripple effect and lead to amazing results. That coffee shop owner is a great example for all of us. What small, creative tweaks could you make in your own work or life to spark a bit of innovation? What could you do differently? What could you make better?
Remember, innovation is a journey, and every journey starts with a single step. So what will your first step be?
You know, it's easy to think that innovation has to be this massive, game-changing thing. But as we've been talking about, it can start with small steps, little changes that add up over time.
Right, like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Each little tweak, every experiment, any new idea, they all contribute to this bigger innovation journey.
And it's important to remember, not every step is going to be forward. Sometimes you might go sideways or even backward a little.
Absolutely. You know, the episode really highlighted that. Embracing failure, they said, that's a key part of innovating. Setbacks, mistakes, they happen. It's what you learn from them that counts.
It's like that Thomas Edison quote, right? The one about finding 10,000 ways that something doesn't work. He didn't see those as failures. They were just steps on the way to figuring out what did work.
Exactly. When you have that mindset, those failures become learning experiences. You create an environment where people feel okay taking risks because even if it doesn't work out, their effort is valued. And those lessons, well, they pave the way for future breakthroughs.
Makes sense. So as you think about that small step you want to take, don't be afraid to experiment. Try something new. Even if you're not sure if it'll work, you never know what you might find out along the way.
And remember, innovation, it's not a solo thing. It really thrives when people can share ideas, work together, and learn from each other. So don't be afraid to reach out, bounce ideas around, and get feedback.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I keep thinking about how innovation is about more than just creating new products or services, right?
Yeah.
It's about making a better future for everyone.
Totally.
Uh,
Whether it's through sustainability, using technology to connect people in meaningful ways, or just finding ways to make our lives a little bit better, innovation can make a real difference.
It can. So as you go on your own innovation journey, keep the bigger picture in mind. What impact do you want to have? What kind of future do you want to be a part of? Let those questions guide you and inspire you to keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep pushing the boundaries.
Because the future of innovation, well, it's in your hands. What will you create?